The southernmost reaches of our planet have always been wrapped in silence. Antarctica is more than a continent. It is an expanse of pure white isolation, a place so detached from the rest of the world that it seems almost untouched by time itself. No streets, no cities, no voices. Only the wind whispering across a desert of frozen water 2 miles thick. Scientists measure it in temperatures and data points, but beneath those numbers lies something older, something the early explorers felt rather than understood. A presence. When you stand on that endless ice, the horizon stretches so far that your sense of distance dissolves. The line between sky and earth blurs, and for a moment, you feel the world falling away beneath you. Antarctica was officially discovered in the early 19th century, yet long before that it appeared on maps that should not have known it existed. The Piri Reis map of 1513, drawn from even older sources, depicts a southern continent, free of ice. How could ancient navigators have known of land hidden under thousands of feet of frozen sea? This single question has haunted historians for centuries, and it is here that our story begins. Through the 1930s and the 1940s, Antarctica became the stage for quiet curiosity and louder ambition. Nations sent ships south, not merely for exploration, but for claim and secrecy. Among them, Germany launched expeditions under the Third Reich, officially scientific, but whispered to have darker purposes. Photographs of ice shelves, reports of caves warm enough to house entire bases, and strange metallic sounds that instruments could not explain. Then came the end of the war, and with it, a new mystery, one that would take the United States Navy into the cold like never before. In 1946, Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd, a decorated polar explorer, led Operation Highjump, the largest Antarctic expedition ever attempted. Officially, its goal was to train troops for extreme conditions, map the continent, and test new technology. Unofficially, many believe, it was something else. 4,000 men, 13 ships, and dozens of aircraft, far more than needed for mere research. And when the operation abruptly ended months early, the rumors began to grow. Witnesses claimed Admiral Byrd returned shaken, speaking of flying craft that could move from pole to pole at incredible speeds. Newspapers at the time quoted him vaguely, but the seed was planted. Had something been encountered in those frozen wastes? Something not meant for human eyes? Even now, the details of Operation Highjump remain partially classified, and the fragments we have only deepen the uncertainty. Some say the mission was a cover to locate remnants of a Nazi stronghold. Others whisper of an entrance to a hidden world beneath the ice, an ancient city preserved under layers of frozen time. Imagine it. Below the surface, vast caverns warmed by geothermal vents, rivers flowing through subterranean valleys, and structures, geometric, deliberate, impossible for nature to carve. Radar scans have occasionally hinted at anomalies deep beneath the sheet, miles across, shaped like domes and walls. Science calls them subglacial mountains. The curious call them ruins. If a civilization once thrived there, it predates known history. Some researchers speculate that Antarctica was not always covered in ice, that tens of thousands of years ago, it was a temperate land capable of supporting life. A pole shift, a sudden freeze, perhaps even the very cataclysm that ended an earlier chapter of humanity. And maybe, just maybe, a few survivors went underground, waiting for the world to thaw again. The cold hum of the wind grows louder here, and the imagination fills the emptiness with echoes of what might still sleep below. As Operation Highjump pushed deeper into the white, reports became fragmented. Radio silence, equipment failures, aircraft lost in storms that formed without warning. And then, As quickly as it began, it was over. Admiral Byrd was recalled. His men returned home. The Antarctic summer faded, and with it, the public attention. But some of those who sailed south never spoke again of what they seen. What if the ice had opened for a moment? What if, in that fleeting silence, they looked into the mouth of something ancient, an intelligence buried beneath millennia of frozen history? This is where speculation begins and certainty ends. The following years would bring whispers of Operation Deep Freeze, Project Nanook, and international treaties that declared the entire continent off limits for military activity. But none of them explain why, in an age of exploration, the one place still untouched is the one place no one truly understands.
As Byrd's fleet retreated from the frozen coast, reports of strange sightings began to circulate. Faint, fleeting lights moving against the blizzard, faster than any known aircraft. Some pilots swore they saw shapes above the ice, metallic and reflective, performing maneuvers that defied the laws of physics. Official records dismissed these as illusions caused by snowstorms or optical distortions. But among the men who had flown those missions, disbelief was rare. They spoke in hushed tones, as if the very mention of it might awaken something from the ice. What lies beneath Antarctica is not merely ice and rock. Radar imaging in the decades that followed revealed massive subglacial lakes, some larger than entire countries. Lake Vostok, hidden beneath 2 miles of ice, has been sealed from the outside world for over 15 million years. And yet, when probes were sent down, the results were puzzling. Microbial life thrived, resilient and strange, as though evolution had followed a different path in the eternal darkness. If life can survive here, why not something more advanced? Structures, remnants of a civilization that had been buried when the ice swallowed the continent, what Byrd might have glimpsed in the brief hours of Operation Highjump. Stories emerged over the years, whispered in intelligence circles, in archives that are now scattered and classified. Photographs were claimed to have been lost, film reels melted by unknown heat. Maps of the continent, supposedly topographic, showed geometric depressions that bore no resemblance to natural formations. Lines perfectly straight, edges too sharp, angles too exact for ice and stone alone. Could these be the remains of a city? A metropolis hidden beneath kilometers of frozen rock, abandoned or preserved, waiting in silence? Speculation points to a connection with the Nazis' Antarctic expeditions. In 1938-1939, the Germans claimed a region called New Schwabenland. Officially, it was a research station. Unofficially, rumors suggested they were searching for technology, perhaps even ancient knowledge preserved in the ice. After the war, any trace of those expeditions vanished from public discourse. Documents disappeared, ships' logs were redacted, yet tales persisted, testimonies of secret bases, underground hangars, and craft capable of flight beyond contemporary understanding. Byrd, in a 1947 press conference, issued a warning. He spoke vaguely of potential threats, of technologies from another world encountered in the extreme south. Though his words were softened in newspapers, the tone was unmistakable. He had seen something that challenged comprehension. Theories abound. Some researchers claim Byrd encountered remnants of the Vril Society experiments, a Nazi sect obsessed with energy sources and occult science. Others argue he found entrances to a hollow Earth, vast tunnels and caverns connecting polar regions in ways conventional geology cannot explain. And then there are those who suggest the continent itself is a shield, hiding something humanity is not ready to see, a civilization predating recorded history, possibly as advanced as ours or more. Imagine descending into the darkness beneath the ice. The walls, impossibly smooth, reflect faint phosphorescence. Air hums with vibrations you cannot identify. Water pools and underground rivers flowing silently. carrying echoes of the past. Stone structures, towers, and plazas, carved with precision, untouched by weather or time. Would you walk carefully, or would the sheer weight of history keep you rooted at the entrance? Operation Highjump was not the last expedition, though it remains the most famous. In the 1950s and 60s, the United States, Russia, and even private scientific teams sent aircraft and satellites over the continent. Radar anomalies persisted. Some were dismissed as ice quakes, some as sensor errors, but the patterns repeated. Long, narrow shapes, sometimes circular, sometimes angular, embedded beneath kilometers of frozen silence. Structures too deliberate to be natural, yet never fully visible. And still, Antarctica remains off-limits for permanent human settlement. Military activity is banned. Scientific research is monitored and regulated. Could it be that humanity has chosen to respect the silence, or have those in power decided that some truths are too dangerous to uncover? As the wind howls over the ice, one cannot help but feel the weight of secrets buried beneath. A city that may never see daylight again. Technology, knowledge, and history locked away in the frozen dark. Operation Highjump scratched the surface. Byrd glimpsed shadows of what lay beneath, and the world, busy with wars and politics, looked away. What sleeps below Antarctica? A remnant of an ancient civilization? A hidden base from a forgotten war? Or simply the imagination of those who dared to peer too far into the frozen void? The answers are lost in the ice, waiting patiently as they always have.
The deeper we imagine beneath the ice, the more questions arise. Radar scans show irregularities miles beneath the surface, shapes that challenge conventional geology. Straight lines, circular depressions, and formations resembling streets or walls appear where ice should be uniform. Some scientists insist these are natural anomalies caused by glacial movement, tectonic shifts, or magnetic interference. Yet the mind cannot help but trace patterns, to see cities in the whiteness, to imagine streets lined with buildings frozen in time, long before any explorer set foot on the continent. Stories from those involved in early expeditions hint at more than ice and stone. Pilots reported sudden compass failures, aircraft instruments spinning without explanation. Men spoke of sounds beneath the ice, rumbles, vibrations, almost like engines running deep within the ground. Official logs attribute them to weather or equipment malfunction. But eyewitnesses insist there was intelligence behind what they heard, something deliberate, something watching. Then there is the question of purpose. Why build under Antarctica? For a civilization forced underground by a cataclysm? Or perhaps for a power still active, waiting for discovery? Some theorists speculate the continent is the resting place of technologies so advanced that humanity would be unprepared to confront them. Byrd himself hinted at such things in interviews after Operation Highjump, though careful phrasing and political caution kept his words cryptic. What if Byrd and his men had seen the edges of this hidden city? The abrupt early termination of Highjump has fueled decades of speculation. Ships recalled, men silenced, evidence lost. All the while, beneath the kilometers of ice, the city, or whatever remains of it, waited. Modern exploration has brought new tools. Satellites measure minute differences in ice density. Radar penetrates miles of frozen crust. And still, anomalies persist. In some cases, researchers have observed depressions perfectly shaped, geometrical in design. No glaciers form straight walls. No ice shifts in perfect circles. And yet, these shapes endure, untouched by time or weather. Theories grow wilder with time. Some suggest that the city is not of Earth at all. that it is the remnant of a civilization that arrived from beyond our planet, that its architecture reflects knowledge impossible to attain without understanding forces we have not yet undiscovered. The so-called flying craft, Byrd reported, may have been remnants of this technology, still operational in hidden hangars beneath the ice. Some claim that the Nazi expeditions merely stumbled upon these remnants and attempted to harness them. And so the mystery deepens. The ice is patient. It does not speak. It does not reveal its secrets easily. Those who come seeking answers often leave with only more questions. Operation Highjump scratched at the surface, enough to glimpse something extraordinary. Subsequent expeditions, both military and civilian, find hints but rarely answers. And the continent remains in essence a silent guardian of what lies beneath. Perhaps it is a city built by those who walked Earth long before recorded history, now hidden under miles of ice. Perhaps it is a laboratory of technology so advanced it would seem like magic to us. Perhaps it is both, or neither, and the truth is something entirely beyond our imagination. As you sit in the dark, listening to the wind over Antarctic plains, consider the silence beneath your feet. For while humanity explores and charts the known world, there are places that remain untouched, unmeasured, unseen. The lost city waits, silent, patient, hidden beneath the ice. And one day, perhaps, the world will uncover what has slept there for millennia.
The ice does not rush. It does not demand. It simply exists, covering mountains, valleys, and perhaps the remnants of something extraordinary. As humans, we are drawn to what we cannot see, to the places where knowledge hides. Antarctica offers a reminder that some truths are not ours to claim lightly. Operation Highjump was a momentary brush with the unknown. Admiral Byrd and his men returned, carrying fragments of experience, whispers of sightings, and the weight of secrets the world may never fully understand. The city beneath the ice, if it exists, remains untouched, frozen in time, as patient and enduring as the continent itself. And yet, the allure of mystery persists. The mind fills the silence with possibilities. Vast halls illuminated by an unseen light, machinery humming beneath the ice, streets empty except for the ghosts of history. Even with modern technology, even with satellites and radar, Antarctica keeps her secrets close. Perhaps that is the lesson of the southernmost continent, that some knowledge must be approached with reverence, with curiosity tempered by patience. The past does not always reveal itself on our schedule. Some discoveries demand we wait. Some truths are not yet ready to be uncovered. So tonight, as you listen, imagine the quiet depths beneath the ice. A city frozen, mysterious, better than any tale told on the surface. A place where history, myth, and reality intertwine. Operation Highjump was only a glimpse. The rest remains a story that the ice tells only to those willing to imagine. And when the wind howls over the endless white, remember, some mysteries are patient, waiting for the next explorer, the next seeker, or perhaps simply the dreamer who dares to wonder. Sleep now, with the knowledge that beneath the world you know lies a place untouched, silent, and eternal. A city beneath the ice, waiting